everyone, this is Tina Perez with the Collins Group at Keller Williams Heritage, and welcome to our Sunday edition of Table Talk. I am back in San Antonio, but we have Dr. Rhonda Schroeder on Zoom call with us, and we are going to pick up where we left off, talking about public schools. And so this segment, we are going to pick up and talk about technology in schools. And I will just turn it over to Dr. Schroeder. And Rhonda, again, just do a brief, quick introduction of yourself and what you currently do in your role there at Oklahoma City Public Schools. And then we'll just get right into the topic.
All right, sounds good. Thanks for joining us again. My name's Rhonda Schroeder, and I am a school principal in Oklahoma City Public Schools. And today we're talking about the very big topic of school technology, and right now the topic of technology at home. Most of us as parents and educators are all wondering what's going to happen in the fall when school goes back into session, and many of you may not even have an answer yet as to what your school district is actually planning to do. What we do know across the board, across the whole country really, is most school districts are trying to go to a one-to-one option, or at least increase the use of digital resources for delivering education to students and giving parents and students more options in the fall. And so, of course, with that comes with many questions and probably a lot of hopes and fears for families when it comes to technology that's issued from a school district, and then how and what to do with it when you're at home. And so tonight, I think we're just going to kind of cover some of those big ideas that I would recommend any parent really look into with their school district. There's tons of things, probably 50 things you want to ask, but I'm focusing on most important right now for your student and your family. And so I'm thinking probably the first place I would start as a parent is really taking up your responsibility in digital citizenship. And really what that means for students and parents is helping your child really master the world of online interaction. So digital citizenship would include things like online safety, personal use and responsibility, fair copyright use. There's like 9 different areas within digital citizenship. It's something you could Google digital citizenship and get tons of information on. But any school district should be looking at how they're going to address digital literacy and digital citizenship with students, both in school and at home. And so as a parent, that's where I would start as well with my child, is how do I do my part as a family? One resource I would recommend anyone looking at, just to kind of get started, would be Common Sense Education. And again, you can Google that and get to their website as well. Common Sense is a 503c organization, and their whole purpose is to help schools and parents navigate the world. One of my favorite aspects of that website is, as a parent, you can go in and you can research anything you want as far as a website, a movie, music, software. You can put it into their search engine and it'll give you what I'm looking for.
A rating, a parental rating, or?
Yes, that's it. The control and the ratings, and yeah, they'll rate it for you to tell you whether it's a good option for your students or not. So definitely take some time to look at that.
Awesome, that sounds great.
Yeah, great resource. We use it all the time. The other thing I would ask as a parent is I would want to know what my responsibility is for repair or replacement of a device that gets lost or stolen. It's really handled differently from each school district. Most school districts will offer or include some sort of warranty or protection plan that's a nominal price. Many school districts cover that fee for themselves, but some do not. So I would definitely ask your school or your district what happens if something unfortunate happens to the device and who's responsible for it.
So that would be like, for an example, if your child was coming home on the way from school and someone accidentally steps on their backpack in the bus or something, and their laptop or tablet is in there. So the parent basically would be responsible for the repair
In some cases, it depends on what the school district has decided. Different, and everyone's a little bit different. And that's why you don't want to assume that your district is doing the same thing that another district is doing. And so it also depends on what device they have. So example, a district that might be using iPads may already have like an Apple Care plan included. And so the parent or the district might only be responsible for that $50 copay if something happens to it. But if the district is doing like Chromebooks, the district may have a provider that's providing coverage for that device, or it may be a self-coverage through the district. So it's hard to say what exactly happens for each one. That's really why you want to make sure you ask that question so you know ahead of time what your responsibility is.
Absolutely. Okay, I've got that down. Okay.
All right. The next thing I think I would say is really important for parents to know and to ask is with the new technology, how is it going to impact current policies with wireless devices? And school boards and school policies usually have some sort of wireless policy in effect, and it runs the gamut. There are some that say wide open, you can use whatever you want, and there are some that lock it down and say no cell phones or no personal devices. And so you want to make sure you understand what your school district's policy is or what your school's policy is on the use of personal devices. And let me go a little bit deeper with that. So as an example, within my school, we have devices for students. And so we tell students they can really only use their personal devices if they're making an emergency phone call home or something that needs to be done in that effect. Because all the business they need to do at school, we have a device issued for them to use. So there wouldn't be a need for them to be on their own device for social media or gaming or things like that. So I would just want to know from a parent and from a student perspective if there will be any changes if your school is going to that kind of situation.
Okay. Sounds good.
Let's see, what else would I want to know? Definitely ask what kind of device your child is going to be given, because technology is so robust right now. Schools usually determine the device based on the developmental needs of the child. And so it wouldn't be surprising to me if young children, like pre-K through 3rd or 4th grade, might be using a tablet device, an iPad, a Google tablet, Surface Pro, something like that that's a little more touchscreen oriented, whereas older grades 3 through 12 may actually have a laptop, which could be a Google Chromebook or an iBook or any other device that's an actual keyboard oriented device. And so you'll want to know, what device your child is going to be using so that you can help integrate with those things. And then probably just a couple other things. And again, this is going to really vary based on what options your school district is giving you. And this is going to really kind of zone in on going back to school in the fall. So many schools have said, we're going full back to school and we're going to hope it works out. And many have said, we're going to give you options. And so your school district may be talking about traditional, which would mean everyone goes back the way you did it, and they just put in some precautions. Your district may be talking about hybrid options, which would include traditional, but then the option of maybe a alternating schedule. So you would do some online and some at school. And then some are offering the third option of going completely online or virtual learning. And it seems like most school districts are giving those options for parents and leaving that into the hands of parents to decide what they would want to do. So you'll want to just make sure you're paying really close attention to the communication that your school district is putting out, their websites, their robocalls, all of those things. In most cases, districts are telling parents, if we don't hear from you, your child's going to automatically be in the traditional setting, which means we're going to expect them back. Again, states differ and districts differ, so you want to make sure you understand what your specific district is doing. But that seems to be the trend right now across the country.
That's excellent advice. I don't know what the Northside Independent School District is doing here in San Antonio. I have heard the Sharp Cibolo Universal City ISD maybe doing that staggering option where they're going to have that mixed, where some will have the option to come full-time back to school, combined with some of those that are going to continue the online learning. So I'm curious to see what that's going to look like for 8th grade students and new enrollees coming in. So
Right.
I'll probably know that answer this week.
Yeah, hopefully so. And a lot of them are really
for Tristan. So yeah.
Yeah. And then I'm wondering, yeah, I mean, Texas is usually a little more progressive and they can get some things out there. But around here, we're already hearing, what schools are doing. The schools that my children go to or my child goes to has had their information out for a while. The district that I'm working in is getting ready to put their information out this coming week. And so the schools really are getting to the point now where they realize we're only weeks away from school starting in August and we need to get this information out and ready. And so I was thinking just now as we were visiting, just one more thing I would definitely suggest parents ask.
Yes.
And this probably is the most important thing, because I can't believe I waited to the last to mention it, but you really want to ask and find out from your district what their filtering protocols are on their devices. And so, for example, filtering is what mechanism is your district using to keep your students safe while they're online, keep them from accidentally or intentionally venturing out to those sites that they shouldn't be on. And then, how much does that permeate? So the devices at home, are those network safety protocols still in place, or is that only while they're at school? So that would be one of the biggest concerns from a parent perspective, is I would want to know what those options are. And then with that is what kind of monitoring they're doing. So filtering and monitoring, two different things.
Okay.
Filtering is the process that the school or its infrastructure does to kind of block their ability to access things. Monitoring basically is, okay, we know you can get to these places, but we're monitoring when, how, and to what extent you're using them. And that's usually done on the side in the classroom, where teachers have software programs available, or the schools have monitoring systems in place where they can go in and they can see, okay, Rhonda Schroeder has been on YouTube for 2 hours today. What's up with that? And so those are great tools that almost all school districts use to an extent. If your district is not using some sort of credible monitoring device, I would ask questions. I would ask serious questions as to why and how they're going to address that. I feel like ethically we have a fiduciary responsibility to not only protect students, but also teachers in the classroom. Teachers cannot do everything. And by nature, children are going to test and be curious, and we've got to have those safeguards in place for them. So definitely what I would be asking your school district is about what their filtering and monitoring systems will be in place for students who are using technology in the classroom.
That is excellent. Yes. So, all right. So you've given us 4 things that parents need to be asking our school districts regarding the technology that our kids are getting. I've definitely wrote those down. And then also, again, just to reiterate, is that, the importance of checking with your district to find out what the options are. And then asking these important questions so that way you know up front what your responsibility is for that technology, and if you are required to purchase anything additional in case of any damage to that product. So all right, so again, and then at the end of this video we will put the website for Common Sense Media or Common Sense Education, so that way you can have that link as well. And so that sounds good. So what else do you think that we have left to discuss?
Oh gosh, on that topic, that's probably about it. I think those are the biggest things for going back to school. But you know me, I'll talk about anything, Tina. So what else?
I'm just thinking like for next time. Well, we'll be thinking.
For next time.
I want to put you on the spot like right now, but we'll just be thinking of some other things. Or go ahead.
You know what though? One thing I would think about, and this is a good time to think about it too, always, questions that come up for teachers and principals, sometimes from parents as school gets started, is navigating parent-teacher conferences. Do I need to go? What questions should I ask? What's taboo for parent-teacher conferences? And even open houses. You know, most schools have, especially elementary, have meet your teacher nights or back to school, things like that. And, you know, there are some unwritten, unspoken rules of engagement that might be helpful for parents during those times. So that would be great. That would be helpful.
Next
so
time.
we might think about that.
Yes, because I mean, I need that myself. This is going to
exactly, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be my first time enrolling my child in public school because I've been a homeschool teacher, mom, businesswoman all this time. So I'm definitely going to need to know what I can say and what I can't say. So, but yeah, also the other thing I'm looking forward to is the orientation night to come in. And unfortunately, you know, when we moved back to Texas, we had missed all the important dates for the enrollment, the orientation, where Tristan Witter had an opportunity to pick out his electives. And so that's why when we moved back, I opted just to continue to homeschool him for that year because he had already missed out. And I didn't want to just kind of throw him in at that point when he really probably could have benefited from selecting those things that would have been of interest to him. So yeah, that's definitely good to know. So we will again pick up on that other stuff when we talk again. And so that's all we have for you on this Sunday for All My Table Talk. And thank you very much, Dr. Schroeder, for joining us again.
My pleasure.
Forward to our next conversation. And for now, that is it.